comedian, podcaster, writer, and self-confessed gossip around town, Bec Charlwood. Okay, well, what do you think your parents feel about your more explicit material?
Oh, I don't need to think. I know. They tell me. My dad in particular, he just kind of like, he'll come see a show once every like 3 years and go, yeah, that was good. And that's kind of where it ends. And I go, okay, thank you for, not sharing too much more of your opinion. He's interestingly not like a funny kind of guy. He's like he used to be a homicide detective, so he's incredibly serious. And so I don't think he puts out a lot of comedy. He doesn't take in a lot of comedy. So a lot of the time I don't think he actually understands what I'm saying whatsoever. But my mum, on the other hand, we've been on such a journey with my comedy. I think for the first 9 years, she hated every second of it. She was always like, I don't know why you've got to talk about, what's going on with your body and, your sex life and everything. Why does everyone need to know? Like, I'm your mother. I don't want to hear that. And I'd always say to her, you don't need to watch it. You can watch 0 of my comedy and I will still love you and understand, because I can't, unfortunately, write the best comedy set with you in mind, because then it will be for absolutely no one else but yourself. And it will just be me kind of bragging about how great I am, which does not make for a good comedy set. And so now, after all this time, she's like gotten used to it. And now that it's been my full-time job for like a couple of years, she's kind of like, oh, okay, this is actually going well. And for a long time, she had the reason of being like, well, it's not going well, so maybe you should listen to me. And now gradually she's had to come off that pedestal and kind of, give me my flowers for it. And also my comedy's matured as well over time. I'm starting to talk about stuff that's a bit more relatable to her as well. So I think she started enjoying it like a lot more. She still has a lot of suggestions about what, she thinks I should joke about. And instead of fighting her, I've learned to say, oh yeah, I'll think about it. Is the best way to get through that non-argument.
Well, I think as an audience, we often do think about, oh, you're saying some pretty personal stuff there. I wonder how the people in your life feel about that.
Oh yeah, you got to put up a pretty big boundary early on, I would say, in your comedy career. I mean, depending on what you do, if you are someone that can just write about not your personal life whatsoever, those people never need to worry about their parents coming to a show, right? But in my case, I've said to all my family members, you never need to come to one of my shows ever. It's so fine. Actually, interesting though, my brother is, I think out of my older brother, out of everyone in the family, is the biggest fan of my stand-up.
Right.
And I think that's because he consumes like a lot of comedy. And he understands, like, there are elements of truth to it. There's reasons behind everything I say, what I say, and it's thought out and it's written, and it's not me just getting up there and going, and this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Blah, blah, blah. And he can really like put aside that I'm his sister for a fact and just enjoy the comedy of it, which is something I respect so hard and appreciate so much.
He's a smart man. Do you feel any pressure when you know that another member of your family is going to be in the audience?
Oh my God, yes. Look, if I mention that one of my family members is coming to a specific show, maybe, if there's another option to see the show at another time, maybe take that one, because I will, I still can't help but get so anxious. Even if it's only my older brother coming to the show, who I know is going to pretty much love anything that I do, I still am like, oh, but he could take this back to the family group chat if this doesn't go well. This will follow me into my real life if this doesn't go well. Where it's a room of strangers, I'm like, cool. When the show ends, this interaction ends. And I don't, of course I'll think about it on how it went, but I'm not going to have to sit across a table from any of you and explain myself.
Is that how it ultimately pans out? You have to explain yourself?
A couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times I've had to explain myself. Look, there was one show that I wrote that was very, very heavily about my mum, and I tried to run the material by her beforehand. And I sent her a recording of it so she could listen to it in her own time, in her own space. She didn't have to sit in a room with people and hear it, because I think that would have been very overwhelming for her. Yes. Also, I thought at the time. And so I sent it to her, and then she didn't listen to it. And then I started the tour, and I was about halfway through the tour when I get a very teary voicemail in the middle of the night of her saying, "Why would you say these things? Oh, you think I'm a horrible mom? You think that I don't love you?" And that's not what the show was about at all. But she doesn't consume a lot of stand-up comedy, and she didn't understand that it's like I'm poking fun at her in the show, I'm poking fun at me in the show, I'm poking fun at us in the show. And she just heard, I'm a terrible mum, which I think all mums, somehow that switch turns on in their brain no matter what you're saying sometimes.
But as you're telling me this, I'm thinking about you getting that message in the middle of the night and spiraling.
Oh, yeah. And because I'd already done the show, I've already got, a bunch of other cities coming up. And I'm like, well, what do I do? Do I try and change the whole show? And I was like, well, I don't know how I would do that in such a short amount of time. Like, I really thought I was trying to walk a delicate line of, being respectful and not, shaming her in any way. And then I had to call a bunch of other family members and run them through it. And then had to be a lot of difficult talks and stuff. And her best friend called me, and then we had to talk through a whole action plan to talk her through the show and say that everything's okay. And I had to get other family members to listen to it and be like, is this out of hand? And look, it was a lot of admin, but I've learned from that what the rule is if I'm gonna do a joke about her, I'm planning to, I tell her at the start before I even do the joke on stage and run it by her beforehand. And then what's resulted from that is I don't really write too many jokes about my mum at all anymore.
Well, we naively, as an audience, think that you get up there and you tell jokes. We have no idea about all these pressures.
My advice to anyone out there, if you are thinking about writing jokes about your family, think about how much comedy they watch. And if it's not a lot, really be careful about how you go into it before you get up there.
And as we've discussed several times, it's generational too.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah. Definitely my older family members are not used to my style of comedy whatsoever. And a lot of them, I'll watch them throughout an entire show when they've made the horrible decision of coming along despite my warnings. It's just me watching them. And I always tell them to sit at the back. And they don't listen to that either. Always tell your family to sit at the back because you never know how the show's going to go. And you don't want to be looking in their eyes if the show goes badly. But still, sometimes they'll not heed my warnings, sit at the front, furrow their brow the whole time and go, that's nothing like Carl Barron. That's nothing like Dave Hughes. That's nothing like the 5-minute Jimmy Carr video I watched online of him taking down hecklers. I don't understand.
I think it's that distracting, whether it's a family member or just someone you know, if they're sitting there and you can see them. You and I both know that comedians prefer a dimly lit room, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it really, and again, I've said it, but not being able to see everyone's faces when you are being brutally honest is definitely part of what, makes us appear so confident. There's been times where you've shown up to a gig and the lighting is a lot brighter than you expected on the audience, and all of a sudden it gets very difficult to do your jokes with your full chest.
Well, it's really instructive for me, actually, because when I'm doing comedy shows, and invariably the performer will want the room darker, and there are imperatives for cameras and lighting, but that's exactly what I need to hear. So tell us about Spicks and Specs as a writer and a performer.
Yes, I've written on 2 seasons of Six and Specs. It's been my favorite job that I've had throughout my entire comedy career, apart from doing stand-up itself. Um, it's such a fun show. It's how we met, is on the set of Six
Yes.
and Specs. It's such a great show with such an awesome legacy, and I also get to flex my music trivia knowledge as well and work with such a great team. And one of the few comedy writing jobs in Australia that doesn't make you watch the news every single day, which I think is a real, real blessing.
Yes, it's very evergreen, very timeless.
I'm sad I didn't get to write on the most recent season. Let me tell you that. That was a really hard decision to make um, because I was invited back, but I had too many other projects going on and other things I wanted to work on, but I still got to be on the show, which is always such a joy. It's so special. And it's also the first thing that I ever did in my comedy career that I didn't have to explain it to anyone in my family why it was important. Everyone off the bat was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome. Things are finally going well for you." And I was like, yeah, finally, of course. This was the one thing that's gone well for me. Thanks, guys. Love it.
I should explain that, yes, Bec was invited, but Bec lives in a different state to the production. When you appear on Specs, are you surprised at the people that recognize you or comment?
I mean, most people just like get so excited that you're on the show. I think I see a real, like, definitely generational divide between everyone across all generations in Australia knows Specs and Specs and is so excited you're on the show. Everyone over the age of 40 will actually watch your episode, and everyone underneath, a high chance that they're just going to like the Instagram post or whatever video you post and then move on.
It's interesting. It's a comment on the state of free-to-air TV, but at least it opens you to a different audience.
Yeah, definitely. I think I learned so much about creating through working on, a form of legacy media, of how much goes into it and how important everyone's single little job is, and why the outcome is so good is because everyone works their asses off to make it happen. And that definitely taught me so, so much. And I think even though there's like a lot of young people that, aren't going to get the opportunity to work in legacy media, if you ever do, I would always say take it, because you will learn so much.
It's a very much a team and collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Your YouTube special was titled Bipolar Baby, and everyone should watch it if they haven't already.
Yes, it's about the world's craziest baby.
Well, as you may expect, it covers quite a bit about you living with bipolar. First up, your eventual diagnosis.
Yeah, it's about 7 years ago now that I was like so low, like really depressed, really like trigger warning, suicidal, and went to go see a GP because I was just like, maybe I need help. I've tried everything that I possibly can and nothing is working. I've tried going for the walks every day. I've tried eating vegetables. I've tried drinking the water. It's not doing anything. And went to this GP who I was so lucky really asked me a lot of questions about my history with mental health and, and thought it was like, you know what, this isn't just a regular depression. There's something more going on here. We got to get you in to see a psych, which doesn't usually happen for a lot of people. If you just go to a GP and they're so busy and overwork themselves, often they'll just throw antidepressants at you. And if you have bipolar, it means that you can end up in a bit of a manic episode, which is really, really scary spot to be, especially when you've gone to someone for help. And so I got so lucky and then went to go see a psych, and they were like, we think you've got ADHD. And now I'm just getting into the story of the special here. They thought it was ADHD, then they gave me Ritalin, and then I had the worst manic episode I've ever had in my life. And that is what the special is about.
For those unlucky enough not to have seen the special, tell us about that Ritalin episode.
Oh gosh. I mean, look, I won't spoil. I'll sum it up for you,
Mm-hmm.
and this hopefully will explain it,
Yep.
give you a bit of warning without giving too much away. But basically, after taking Ritalin, I started to hear the voice of God through the South Park theme song,
Yes.
which is funny, and you can laugh at that because that is the funniest thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And I'm fine now, so we can laugh about it. But essentially, yeah, I started to hear things and see things that weren't real or were happening. And, and the special is about the journey of, all the hilarity that ensued from being in that state of mind and the aftermath of it and everything around it.
Well, it's quite a skill for you to be able to make something like that funny.
It took a really long time writing and going over it in my head and, going to therapy. And like 5 years later is when I finally wrote about it because
Right.
I needed that time to process and get to a good place mentally. And I think that's so important if you are going to talk about big emotional stuff, you got to make sure that you are 100% comfortable with it in yourself and joking about it for real and other people joking about it and other people saying stuff about it and commenting on it before you put it out to the world. And after 5 years, finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I got to tell absolutely everyone this because it's just, to me, there's no like sadness, regret, shame attached to it all. It's just something really funny that happened. And thank God had very few repercussions.
Well, that's really interesting. I mean, Taylor Tomlinson, herself bipolar, said that she was comforted to learn that Selena Gomez was out and honest about her condition. Do you hope to achieve similar comfort for those living with mental health conditions?
I mean, definitely finding out whenever a celebrity has bipolar, that always makes me feel comfortable because, like, well, look at this successful person who's made it work. If they can do it, I can keep chugging. I can keep making it work. Like I found out the other day that Chapel Roan had bipolar, and I was just like, wow, it really is all the talented girls that have bipolar, I guess.
That's right. And you being one of those talented people.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I think, again, being honest about stuff is the best way to make other people feel comfortable. And that wasn't my goal when I put the special out. Was just I'm always trying to think of the funniest thing that's happened to me and putting it out into the world to bring other people joy. But from it, there's definitely been people that have reached out and been like, this made me feel so seen. This made me feel so much more comfortable,
Yep.
which is just like a lovely cherry on top of everything.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily know that when you go into it.
Yeah. And I think as well for a comedian, you never want to go in to a comedy show planning to be an inspiration. I definitely feel like some people will call me an advocate, which it's so lovely of you, all of you that do that. But that is a slur in the comedy community.
Right.
It is. My goal is to be funny and to entertain people. And if you feel other feelings throughout it, that's also okay. And I appreciate them.
Okay, mental note, don't call you an advocate.
I've gotten more comfortable with it. I also have, this is something I have realized since is that advocates do get paid more than comedians.
Huh?
So if occasionally you want to call me an advocate and there's a $sign attached, I am very happy to be an advocate.
Speaking engagements, you'd be
Oh,
perfect.
yeah. Yeah, I've done a couple of speaking engagements, which is great because to me, it's just, I'm just doing my stand-up set, but they see it as an inspiration and I go, great, we're both winning at the end of the day here.
You also regularly discuss your favorite tics, the ones depicted in your routines, the real tics.
Yes. Yeah, I get physical tics as a result of the medication that I take. And I will take physical tics over being unmedicated any day. I think they're silly. I think they're fun. I think
There's a particular favorite that everyone knows.
Which is your favorite of the 3 tics? Oh, yeah, the dickhead tick. Yep. For people just listening on audio, taking my hand, putting it in a circle, and rocking it back and forward like I have a penis on my head is a real tick that I get, and it is very, very funny.
And how does that affect your life?
Well, the good thing is that they're silly and they're funny, and then I'm in the silly, funny business. And so it doesn't really affect me too much. I think I would, they'd be a little harder if I had like a serious desk job or, I needed to, exist in a corporate setting for a long period of time. But I think also discourse is changing around that. People are becoming a lot more aware of, people's different abilities, capabilities, different, ways of being, which I think is really cool. I guess like the person who made me feel comfortable with them was my boyfriend, who when they started getting really bad over lockdown, because I was really stressed, and of course that
Yes.
affects your mental health and stuff. And so it got to a point where he started making, instead of just having a weird, because you'll do them and they can, if you don't know that they're going to happen, people will be a bit scared.
Are you conscious of them as you're doing it?
Oh yeah, you feel them coming. It feels kind of like a whole, like a sneeze, or like when you get like a shiver down your spine.
Yes.
Right before that, that's how it feels. Is you can feel it like rising up in you of like, oh, I'm about to do it. And there's not too much you can suppress them, but eventually they do come out, and it doesn't feel good to suppress them. It's kind of like, holding in like a burp or a sneeze. You're like, this feels it doesn't feel good. And so, if I am in a setting where, I can't tick, there's a serious moment happening or whatever, I will suppress them. But, just us two living in our house, and I was doing them all the time. It was getting up to like, like 20, 30 ticks a day. What he would do to ease the tension of that moment is he would give them sound effects depending on the tick. Like the most common one I was doing is just like my head would just go like this, like jerk to the side a bit, and he would just go blah, 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 blah. And it just made us both laugh. So he is the one that I have to give credit to for making me comfortable with my tics before I was.
Great. And we'll end up writing a sketch about a funeral.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's about the only setting I can think of in this modern day that it may cause some people consternation.
I mean, also there's like, it's I did a really cool showcase with the comedian Luke Kidgel. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's so awesome. Yeah, he had an audience member who ticked during his show. Right. And instead of doing what a lot of comics would do and just like make fun of the person or kind of treat them like they're being a nuisance, he had this really respectful, curious interaction and put the clip up online. And now he gets heaps and heaps of people with tics coming to his shows because they know that it's a comfortable space for them to perform in. And he put on this showcase for the Tourette's Foundation of Australia, and I was lucky enough to perform on it. And it was such a sick experience because there was like, I'm going to say like 40 people in the audience who all had Tourette's, right? And Tourette's,
what sort of things would you hear from the audience?
Well, this is the thing. Tourette's has this weird superpower, and I wish I knew the science behind this, but there's a little comedian that comes with Tourette's that pops up in your brain because whenever you're about to drop a punchline, these people would fill in the blank for you with something so much better than you could ever conceive for things that you've written. Like, for example, my boyfriend, who's also a comic, it was on the showcase, and he has this joke where, and I'm sorry to be vulgar, but he's talking about the gag reflex, and how that is the most enjoyable part of fellatio, and he goes, when when someone has the gag reflex, I think and he goes to pause, and the actual punchline is, I hear the words big boy. And before he could get to that, it's like, great punchline, right? Someone yells out the back of the room, you've got a tiny dick. And everyone pissed themselves laughing. It was such a magical, hilarious moment. And it was so cool to see that someone, without even trying, a complete reflex, just filled in the blank for the joke, which is awesome.
And the genius of timing, like you say.
Yeah. And so that happened all throughout the show, and it was such a cool experience. And so I specifically I've got it on my tour announcement of, tics are absolutely welcome at my show. This is a safe space for people who have tics to come along. You're not going to be a nuisance. If anything, you're going to help me write new punchlines for the show, which I really appreciate.
Well, good on you. And I have to say, I don't want to sound patronizing, but I do learn things from things like Bipolar Baby.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad it's doing more than, just being a silly little comedy special that I put online.
It definitely does, and I think that's endemic of all your comedy. What are your thoughts about comedy in 2025?
Oh, I am really excited about comedy in 2025. I'm seeing so many amazing comedians, so many awesome young comedians coming up. I see there's so many people with so much drive, and I really like the embracing of internet as a tool to reach audiences. I think it's an awesome thing that gives a lot of people autonomy over their work. People being able to be entirely independent and have a lot of success and not feel like they need to cater to a certain idea or taste, in order to get hired or booked for things. People can, write what they think is funny, and they will connect with other people who feel the same way. And it's hard. It's a lot of work. At the moment, it's a lot of unpaid work, but I think it is helping diversify comedy voices in a whole new way, which is really cool to see. And of course, there's a bunch of comedy coming out that I don't like and I don't agree with and I don't think is good. But also, that's just not for me. It's for other people. And that's okay. And I think that's awesome. I think stand-up comedy has never been more accessible than in 2025, because you get it to the palm of your hand at any hour of the day that you like.
That's right. And people should check out Bec on Insta as well.
Yes, I put in so much effort, guys. It's so much effort to edit a video of yourself. It's a painful, emotional experience. Please go check it out.
Welcome to my world.
And I love doing it and I love performing, but having to watch it back. Please like, subscribe, share wherever you can.
Please do. You spoke about people who don't have to talk about their personal experience. They just write jokes or whatever. I think that's more in the past of comedy. And it seems now that most people are talking about their personal experience.
I think there's, with the access to people's, the moment you see a comic that you like online, you see a clip, you can go through and watch all of their back catalog immediately and get to know who they are. And I think personal connection with people is a really important factor in, connecting with people in 2025, is people want to feel, it's a bit of the parasocial thing, which is a whole nother conversation. But I think part of, making people feel like they know you is a really important way to connect with people and, keep up a relationship with people that come to your shows and stuff.
I think so too. And even though we know each other, I can vicariously keep up.
Yeah, it is. I always forget that people I know also watch my comedy and listen to the podcast. When the podcast was happening, I would catch up, with a friend for wine or dinner or whatever, and they would go, oh, and you were saying this thing. And I was like, we didn't have a conversation about that. They go, yeah, I heard you say it on the podcast. I go, oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. I'm letting
That's
everyone in from all angles. That sounded dirty, and I didn't mean it to.
And be careful who you diss.
Yes.
Hey, thank you so much. It's been really eye-opening for me and for a lot of others as well. And I really appreciate how you're explaining to people all the other side that we don't see in comedy.
Thanks, John. It's been a pleasure. This has been really, really fun. Hey, and if you want to see what I'm up to next, Bipolar Baby Part 2, the Middle Child Tour happening all around Australia, head to my socials, follow me on anything. All the information is there.
Plenty more fascinating chats to come. Like, subscribe. See you soon.